So arrays are a very important part of many programming languages. They allow us to store multiple values in one variable. They can be mutated and iterated through, and they can be used in some really complex algorithms. So in this video, we're going to look at creating arrays and mutating them with some really helpful methods that are available in JavaScript. Now, I'm not going to get into iteration and looping in this particular video. We're going to do that in the lecture on loops and iteration. So don't think that I'm leaving that out. We're just going to do it in a few lectures from now. So let's start off by just creating some arrays. So we'll say create some arrays, and we're going to create an array of numbers. So I'm just going to call this numbers. And there's a couple ways to define arrays. This is basically the recommended, or I guess the most popular way of doing it is just by setting some brackets, and we'll put some numbers in here. Let's say 43, 56, 33, 23, 44, 36, and 5. So we have an array of numbers. Now the second way to create an array, and I'll just call this numbers 2, is to use the array constructor and using the array object. So we do that by saying new array, and then we can put our numbers in here. So we can say whatever, 22, 45, 33, 76, 54, whatever. So both of these are arrays, okay? Both of these are ways to create an array. Now, of course, arrays don't have to be just numbers. Let's create an array of strings. We'll call this fruit. And we'll put in here, let's say apple, banana, orange, and pear. All right, so we have an array of strings, and of course we can mix different data types. So I'll just call this mixed. So we can have, let's say, a number, we can have a string, we'll say hello, we can have a Boolean, we can have undefined, null, we can have an object, so we'll say A1, B1. All right, we can even have dates, so we'll say new date. All right, so we can have all different data types, and just to show you what that looks like, we'll say console.log mixed, and you can see that we have an array of all different types. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to initialize a variable called val. We're going to do this kind of like we've done a lot of past lectures. We're just going to kind of, mutate this variable to show different things, and then at the end we'll console log it. So we'll console log.val, and we'll also console log the array itself. We're going to work with the numbers array mostly. So we'll say console log numbers. All right, so if I save that now, it's going to show us the numbers array. I should probably make this a little smaller. And it's going to show us undefined because that's what val is right now. It's undefined. All right, so first thing I want to show you is how to get the array length. Okay, so by length I mean how many values are in the array, and we can use this just as if we were to use it with a string. So we'll say val equals numbers dot length and save, and you can see we get 7. There's 7 numbers in this array. All right, we can also check to see if something's an array. Check if is array, and we do that using the array object. So we'll say val equals capital A array, and then it has a method called is array, and then we can pass in whatever we want to test, in this case the numbers array, and if we save we get true. If I were to put in here a string and save, we get false. All right, so that's a very simple way to check to see if something is actually an array, and this is useful when we're dealing with the DOM because we can return, for instance, a node list from the DOM which is structured like an array, but it's not an actual array, so we can't do certain things like for each loops. So it's a good way to test to see if something's an array, and then you can convert it into an array if you need to. All right, so to get a single value from an array, we can say we'll do val equals numbers, and then we want to use our brackets, and we want to put in the position of the value that we want, or the index. So let's say 3 and save. So that gives us 23. All right, and if we look up here, 23 is actually the 4th value in the array. Now the reason that this happens is because arrays are 0 based. All right, they're 0 based in every language that I've ever used. So basically this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's why we're getting 23 when we're looking at the 3 index. All right, so if we say val equals numbers 0 and save, you'll see we'll get 43, which is the first value. Okay, so just always remember that arrays are 0 based. Now, what if we want to insert something into this array? Okay, arrays are not immutable. We can modify them. So let's say let's put a comment here. We'll say insert into array. So we can say numbers equals, I'm sorry, not numbers equals, numbers, and then the index, we'll put it in the index 2, and we'll set that to 100. So if we save that now and we look at the array that's being printed out, 100 is now in the 2 index position. All right. Now, if you want to find the index of a value, say find index of value, you can use the index of method. So we'll say val equals numbers dot index of, and let's say we want to find the index for 36. So we'll save that and we get 5. And if we look up here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 36 is in the 5 position. All right. So now let's look into mutating arrays with different methods, okay, or different functions that are available. So the first one I want to show you is how to add on to the end of the array. So we can do that with a method called push. So we're going to say numbers dot push, and let's push on 250, and we'll save. And now you can see if we look at the array, which is being logged here, we get 250 at the end. All right, and I'm just going to comment this. So we'll say add on to end. And what if we want to add on to front? So for that, we have a method called unshift. So unshift, let's put on 120 and save, and now you can see that 120 is the first value in this array. Okay, now if we want to take off from the back or from the front, we can do that. So let's say take off from end. So we'll say numbers dot, and then we have a method called pop. All right, so think of it as just popping it off from the end. So we'll say, actually we don't have to put in any parameters, we'll just save, and now that 120 is gone. Okay. Now up here, you know, 5 is the end, and 5 is still here. The reason for that is because we actually added 250 onto the end, so that's what's being popped off. If I were to comment this out where we didn't add it on, then 5 will be popped off. All right, but I'm going to uncomment that. So if we want to take off from the front, we can say numbers dot shift. Okay, instead of unshift, we're doing shift. And if you look at the array now, 120 is at the beginning, but if I save this and reload, 120 now gets taken off the front. All right, we can also splice out values from any place in the array. So let's do that. We'll say splice values. So we'll do that by saying numbers dot splice. And we want to define where we want to start from. So let's say we want to take out this 56. This is in the 1 position, right? So 0, 1. So we'll say 1 and 1 and save, and now 56 is gone. So basically we're saying where we want to start and where we want to end. So we only wanted to take out that 1 value, so we put a 1. Now let's say we want to take the 56 and then the 2 after it, 123. So we would say 1, 3, and save, and now you can see the 100 and the 23 are also gone. Alright, so that is splice. Now we can also reverse the array. So if we say numbers dot reverse, okay, so right now it starts at 43, ends at 5. Let's save that. Now it starts at 5 and ends at 43. Alright, so that is mutating arrays. We can also concatenate arrays. Let's see, concatenate array. So for that, let's say val equals, and then we'll take the numbers array, and then we'll do concat, and let's say we want to concat on numbers 2, which is the other array we have up here. So if I go ahead and save that, and we log the val, now we have an array with 9 values inside of it, because it's both of these put together. Okay. Another thing we can do is sort. Okay, so let's say val equals, and we'll sort fruit. So fruit dot sort, and save, and notice that now it's in alphabetical order. Okay, now sorting numbers, let me just show you. If we do val equals numbers dot sort and save, let's see, we're looking at this one here. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is comment out all of these mutating methods that we created, just so we have the original array, which is this. So we'll save that, and then let's look at this. So this doesn't look right, right? We have 100, 23, 36. This is supposed to be going from lowest to highest. So we have 5 down here. What it's doing is it's sorting by the first number. So you notice that the first number is sorted, and that's probably not what you want to do. So what you want to do to fix this is use what's called the compare function. So you want to pass in a callback to this sort. So I'll show you how to do that. Let's say use the compare function. So we would do val equals numbers dot sort, and then what you would do is pass in a function here, and this function takes in two you can call this whatever you want. X and Y is popular, A and B sometimes, and then all you want to do is return X minus Y. Alright, and then let's save that, and now if we look at the sorted array, you can see it starts at 5, ends at 100. Okay, it doesn't matter for, you know, the beginning number like it did before. And then if you want to go the other way, so if you want a reverse sort, then we can grab this, and instead of X minus Y, we can do Y minus X and save, and now it's sorted in the other direction. Alright, so this is what you want to do if you're sorting numbers. Alright, another method I want to mention is find. Now, find actually takes in a testing function. So what I'm going to do here, I know we haven't really gone over functions yet, but I just want to show you this real quick. So if we have a function, actually we need to name it. Let's call it, we'll call it under 50. Alright, and it's going to take in a number, and then we're just going to return num less than 50. Alright, so we have this very simple function, and then we're going to set val equal to numbers.find, and then we're going to pass in that function, which is under 50. Okay, so let's save that, and we get a 44. So what this did is it looked at our array, which is this right here, and the first number that popped up that is under 50, actually wait a minute, that's not right. Return val numbers.find. Oh, it's because we sorted it. That's why. If we go ahead and comment that out and save, then we get 23. Alright, and if we look up here, that's not right either. What the hell? Oh, sort it here as well. So you can see we've done some things to change up the array. So now it works. All right, so 43 is the first number under 50. All right. It's just that we had stuff going on here that mutated the array, and that's what it was going on when we said numbers. All right, but now we're just looking at it as how we created it, and 43 is the first one that's under 50. If we wanted to do the opposite, let's say over 50, change that to greater than, and pass in over 50 and save, we get 56. If we go up here and we go, you can see that 56 is the first one over 50. All right, so I think that's it. You know, these are very, very simple methods, and they're very powerful, and you'll see that we'll use some of these in some of the projects we create. But that's going to be it for now, guys. In the next video, we're going to look at object literals.